Encounter is brought to you by the Broome County Council of Churches, where we connect compassion with needs as we inspire growth with dignity. You'll find us in special places throughout the community. For those who remain hungry, we provide meals. For those who are challenged, we build wheelchair ramps. We comfort those who are ill, minister to those who are confined, and we remain an advocate for change and understanding on behalf of every element of our community. Connect and inspire. Encounter the Broome County Council of Churches.
Brothers and sisters, welcome to the Encounter program sponsored by the Broome County Council of Churches. I'm your host, Mark Kimpland, the pastor at the Endwell United Methodist Church. Perhaps one of the most recognizable agencies and services in this area and in many areas is the United Way. And so for some time I have wanted to get them on the program, and we are thrilled and I am privileged to introduce our guests this morning. I welcome Tom Connors, the Senior Director of Resource Development with the United Way of Broome County, and also Lindsey Mott, the Director of Community Initiatives and Planning. That's a mouthful. So glad you are here, and welcome to the Encounter program.
Oh, thank you.
Absolutely.
We're a pleasure to be here.
Absolutely. Great. Let's start here. How did this all happen to have both of you involved in the ways that you are with the United Way? Can you just kind of share with our listeners and our viewers how you landed here in Broome County and with the United Way?
I can go first. I probably have a shorter story than Tom. I moved to the area in 2017 to attend the Masters of Public Administration program at Binghamton University and fell in love with the area, definitely wanted to stay up here, and I've been with United Way since 2019. So right after graduation, they snapped me up, and I've been on the team in different capacities since then. Awesome.
Well, welcome to the area.
Thank you.
Tom, what about yourself?
Well, for me, the story isn't that much longer. After moving around quite a bit, I ended up in Tompkins County in Ithaca for 10 years, where I started working for that local United Way. 7 years ago, we decided to move down to Broome County. So I've been with the United Way of Broome County for 7 years now.
Awesome. Well, I'm glad you are, and I really want to dive into this because as we talked about prior to this interview, it is a recognizable name. I mean, you would have to really almost live under a rock to not have heard of the United Way, but maybe not so much as to what you do and how you're organized and such things. So can you kind of tell us about your daily work and how things are organized as the United Way?
Well, as we love to say, we are of the community, by the community, for the community. And that's what we're. We are a community organization. We try to have our eyes and ears on the community to see what's happening, what challenges are being out there. And one of the main things we want people to know is that, if you're right, if you're traveling or if you've come from a different area, you know United Way. But what you may not realize, each United Way is an independent organization. Okay. We are led by a local group of business leaders, community advocates who come together as our board and lead us in helping to improve the lives of our friends and neighbors here in Broome County. And when we talk about, we've been around since 1918 in Broome County under various names. The United Fund. If you played Monopoly and you get your $200 from the community chest, that is also an original name of United Way. Okay. But it's all that. United Way really came on as an advocate for the community, by the community.
Now, are there certain things then, let's get into the certain aspects and the focus, the primary focus and such things. You're here for the people and all of that. What are some of the, for lack of a better word, departments or agencies or ways in which you do that work?
Well, we sort of have a little joke at our office is that, community impact decides where we're going. Our finance department makes sure we don't crash the car. Resource development puts gas in the car, and your marketing tells us how to get there. One of the main focuses and people are most probably familiar with is each year United Way of Broome County runs an annual community campaign. And what we do is we raise funds for those not-for-profits who are serving the community. It helps take a little bit of burden off of them if we're out there advocating on their behalf.
Right.
And we, as time has evolved, we also provide many direct services at this point as well. But the unique thing about United Way, historically, all of them, even though we are all independent and dollars raised in Broome County stay in Broome County, unless designated otherwise, we work on behalf of improving the lives of our friends and neighbors.
Now, are there other, let me kind of go down a rabbit hole here then. Is there, so the funding is through the community and such things. Is there other forms of funding that funds the work that United Way does here in Broome County?
We try to leave no stone unturned.
Sure.
You know,
That's
the
smart.
main focus, the main historical part of United Way is that United Way, or the original organization, was granted access to the workplace so that, 8 agencies wouldn't be knocking on your door for money. So the key thing with United Way has been that we have been allowed access to the workplace where people are able to say, I'm going to pledge $1 a week, I'm going to pledge $1 a pay period, sometimes more than $1, which we love.
Yeah.
And it was a convenient way for people to give dollars. And then, again, on Lindsey's side of things, when we ask our community to raise those dollars, we have volunteers raising those dollars. We have community volunteers coming in and looking at program requests and budgets and deciding how to best spend those dollars.
Can you say a little bit more about that, like the program requests and all of that kind of stuff? How is that directed? How is that decided on?
Yeah, absolutely. So as Tom mentioned, being a United Way, we are kind of an affiliate of all of the other United Ways across the country, across the globe. And the mission that's handed down to us is that we fight for the financial stability, the health, and the education of all people in our community, which is Broome County. But we really have to decide what that means for our community.
Yes.
So we have committees of volunteers that get together once a year or a couple times during a specific time period, and they're the ones who are directly making funding decisions based off of the applications that we get in, the data that we are seeing about community needs, as well as the information and feedback that we're actively soliciting from the community. So it really is volunteer driven, everything we do. Doing our best to represent exactly what the community wants us to do with the funds that we are raising from the community.
So are the initiatives then that you're speaking of, are those initiatives, they're fluid? I mean, they're different each year depending on what the community is asking for? Are there mainstays initiatives that you have, or is it more of a fluid kind of thing that you decide on that on an annual basis?
So we are guided by our current strategic plan. So that is updated every 3 to 4 years, I would say, which is really where we're drilling deep in terms of, again, what does health mean for our community? What does financial stability mean? What does education mean? So that is really our guiding star for whatever period that we are in. And then those committees are making decisions every single year based off of not only the strategic plan and our community commitment plan, but also the way that the need in the community fluctuates, leaving room for, again, new ideas, new initiatives as they arise. So we have the flexibility to fund those as well.
Yeah.
So we try to be very nimble and to make sure we understand. So because of our relationships, we talk about our community partners. Well, everyone is a community partner. Our banks, our manufacturers, our not-for-profit partners, those who receive the funds, those who raise the funds, they're all our partners. So we try to see through these partners what's going on, what is the need. And so, as anyone who has a child probably knows right now, as a working parent, child care is a huge issue. So right now, we're just about to launch our Full Plate Project, which is our hunger, food insecurity initiative. We'll be launching it this coming week. And that was really created last year as a startling response to some scary statistics. I think last year was 1 in 8 families was having trouble putting food on the table. So last year we created the Full Plate Project, raised $111,000 to that went specifically to food and hunger programs in Broome County. And this year, as we saw the reduction in SNAP benefits, and I'm not the grocery shopper in my house, but I'm hearing food costs are going through the roof. So we started it again, and we're very fortunate with corporate partners and with individuals. As we launch, we're hoping to raise $125,000, which will go specifically to hunger and food programs here in Broome County. And I will say, our boss will make sure we want to know that the United Way of Broome County is a little bit unique. We are able to turn every dollar brought in to us back out to the community. 100% of your gift, be it $52 a year, being $100 a year, being $5 a year, being $10,000 a year, all those dollars go right back out to programs and funding in the community.
Amazing, amazing. Friends, our guests today are from the United Way of Broome County, and today we have Tom Connors, who's the Senior Director of Resource Development, and also Lindsey Mott, who's the Director of Community Initiatives and Planning. So these funds come in, are there other types of funding that happens, like at the federal level or state level for United Way also, or is it just?
We're not going to not look anywhere. So you're right. So we do have an active grant writing, research and reach out program going on. As things have changed, we need to change with them. So we are looking at new ways of funding, whether it be event-based, grant-based, or just better communications to our workplace campaigns. And again, my goal as Director of Resource Development is, if we're not getting you at work, we're going to get you at home. We want to. We want to ask you to be part of this, either through your workplace campaign or through giving a check through the mail or going to our website and pledging there.
So this, I just want to make sure, this Full Plate project, it is basically the tentacles then in the community who are addressing the issues of food scarcity. Is that correct then? And then do these agencies or these folks then apply for this, or how does the word get out about that?
So the funding is given out through our strategic community priority grants. So the agencies have already applied as part of that regular process, and then we're able to really boost up what we're able to award to them to address that increased need in the community. So it really is a way of, I would say, supercharging our campaign in terms of being able to meet, again, the rising need that we're seeing.
And how is the application process? How does that happen? I mean, how are agencies or services or ministries aware that that's happening?
So we have a pretty extensive listserv of folks who are either currently funded partners or people who have indicated that they're interested in receiving more information from our team. And then when we release a request for proposals, which typically happens in November for our programmatic grants, they're all alerted that the opportunity is available. We do whatever we can to support them because we know that, again, grant writing can be kind of daunting, especially for our smaller agencies, and it's really important that we are able to distribute resources to them as well. So we offer office hours where they can come meet one-on-one with us and ask any questions they have. We do basically a walkthrough of the grant. So we say, okay, this is what the questions we're asking you, and this is kind of how we expect you to answer the questions, or how it would be most positively received if you answer the questions, and just making sure that, again, folks who maybe don't have that grant writing experience of agencies who have a professional grant writer have that inside knowledge as well, so they can compete. Yeah,
that's a pretty intricate process at times. It really is.
Yes, and what I think is, again, unique about United Way of Broome County, we were very quick to say, traditionally United Ways had member agencies, and that's where the funding went to. Well, some years ago, United Way of Broome County said that's not good enough. So any 501c3 not-for-profit organization in Broome County can apply for funding. Whether they get it or not is based on the review of the community, how many dollars we are able to raise through the community. So, of course, the requests are always much larger than those dollars we give out. We do try, particularly in terms of just the recent experience with the pandemic, United Way worked with some of the other funders to initially, during the struggle with the pandemic, to get dollars out there. And then to follow up on that, United Way did an additional fund called the United We Stand Fund, where organizations that were having specific pandemic-related issues could apply for dollars very quickly, and we would try to get those dollars back out very quickly.
Yeah.
So we funded things like, I think it was the Deposit School District needed tents to have summer programs outside.
Yeah.
They needed freezer bags for mobile delivery of foods.
Yes.
So again, we are the community, we're serving the community. We know that, helping our neighbors is kind of selfishly helping yourselves, because it helps us all thrive.
Yes.
And what's great is that this community has been so responsive and continues to care about their friends and neighbors, and to say, here, I'll give $1 a paycheck, or I'll commit a significant amount of dollars to your organization.
I find two things amazing just listening to this conversation. First, which I'm not sure it was an aha, but it certainly reinforced it. The United Way isn't here to invent the wheel. It's kind of to grease the engines that are moving, which is, I think, admirable. I think that's fantastic. And the other thing is, you do keep your eyes open, your ears open, because things change. You identified food scarcity as one of the things that you hear in the community. Are there other things that, other conversations going on in the community, or that you're hearing now, that have been, are, or will be initiatives that you're looking to tackle?
So definitely, I would say a renewed focus on mental health. That's something that we've heard over and over again, is that there is, again, a lack of resources in the community. And I would say even those soft social supports, looking at our community post-COVID, a lot of neighbors don't know each other. A lot of people are not necessarily going out and socializing in the way that they need to, and that not only impacts their mental health, but it also impacts their feeling of being part of the community. It impacts their ability to knock on the door if they feel like something is going on next door, as opposed to escalating that situation. So I think moving forward, we've always included mental health as part of our health priority, but I think as we move forward into the next 4 years, that's something that we are going to have a renewed focus on, and really taking a deep dive into what are the supports that our community is looking for.
Yeah, and are they adequate? Yeah,
Right.
Yeah.
Well, one thing I think that is really an integral part of how we do that is our 211, Susquehanna River Region. For those of your viewers who don't know what 211 is, 211 is, River Region is a service, information referral service, where anyone can call those 3 digits, 211, and find out where they could go for anything. How do I file for unemployment? My daughter's in an abusive relationship. What do I do? I can't pay my rent. I'm having bad thoughts. I'm worried about harming myself, or I'm being harmed by somebody.
Yes.
211 is available, and during the pandemic, they were amazing. They were a little bit understaffed during the pandemic, but they were handling all the calls about COVID, any question they would have. And we have a database which they're all referring to. So they will be able to say, with this issue, call here. If you need to file for unemployment, here's where you go. So they are coming back to the United Way team and saying, we're getting all these calls about people don't have a place to live.
Right. Yes.
So that's something we look at, and we work with the other funders in the area as well. The Community Foundation, the Clee Foundation, Howland. We're all in this together, and just as we ask the community to be part of it, we're working with other organizations, with the county, with the city, with our for-profit partners, which we can't do anything without our for-profit partners.
Sure.
So we're all working together, trying to make sure nobody slips through the net.
Yes, yes, yeah. Friends, we're joined today by Tom Connors, the Senior Director of Resource Development with the United Way of Broome County, and also Lindsey Mott, the Director of Community Initiatives and Planning. Eligibility, you touched on that just a little bit. Is it just the 501c3 is or how, what's the eligibility of receiving funds from the United Way? Is it just nonprofit or, okay.
So for our recurring grant opportunities, we do ask that they be a 501c3.
Okay.
They are also able to secure a fiscal sponsor. So for example, if it was somebody who maybe wasn't a nonprofit, if they could get a nonprofit to essentially sponsor them, we would cut the contract with the nonprofit organization sponsoring them, and then they would be able to allocate those funds directly to that person who is doing work. So we do have a little bit of flexibility there in terms of making sure that more grassroots folks who, again, maybe don't have that formal 501c3, because that's a huge process, are able to, again, gain support from what we're doing. And then we're really looking to make sure that the people who are applying for funds are addressing health, education, financial stability. Obviously, that's a very broad net as well. So I would say most nonprofits operating in Broome County would be a good fit for what we do.
Okay.
So.
Yes, and it's important to note that these organizations have to be providing services in Broome County.
Okay, yes.
Again, we don't want anyone, unless a donor specifically wants to give through their payroll deduction and then just have it be convenient. If they want to send an annual donation to an organization outside of Broome County, we honor that, again, 100%. But for the most part, those applying agencies will only be funded for activities in Broome County.
Okay.
So we're very proud to say, you know, local dollars stay local.
Yeah, yeah. For the listeners and viewers, how can they catch this vision? What can they do to support? What can they do to get involved? What can they do to partner with you? What would be your advice to them?
So there's so many great opportunities to get involved. I believe a couple years ago, we launched a website that is UW Broome, or it's oh my gosh, I'm gonna get it wrong.
UW Broome/volunteer. I mean, I think that will get you. Are you talking about the Volunteer HQ? Yeah. On our website is something called Volunteer HQ. So Lindsey, you
Okay.
wanna?
Yeah. Go ahead.
So essentially, it is a database of volunteer opportunities in Broome County. So partner organizations have their own profile. They're able to post whatever they have needs for in the community. Something we've heard from our partners over and over again is, again, it's been difficult to recruit folks for those recurring volunteer opportunities. So volunteer drivers, people preparing meals, things like that. So all of those openings are available through that website. So that is a great way to get involved with not only what we do at United Way, but also all of our amazing partners who, again, are really our hands in the community,
Sure.
actually
Yes.
doing the work.
Yes, yeah.
And I would be remiss if I say, we would love you to participate by donating to United Way.
Yes.
There are also volunteer opportunities within United Way. We are, as I said, our board of directors is community leaders, people who want to see the community improve. So we have a volunteer board. I am really behind the scenes with the community campaign, as we're being led this year by Sean Walbert of GHS Federal Credit Union. She's our honorary chair. She's out there asking her business colleagues and friends, please support United Way, again, supporting the community.
Yeah.
But we have a variety of ways in which you can help us internally. One of the things that we're just wrapping up is our volunteer income tax assistance VITA program, and so people come to United Way and various other locations and get their taxes done for free for very little requirements. I think, don't quote me on this, but it's around an individual's income of less than $66,000.
Okay.
You cannot own a second property for rental. I think that's it. And why would United Way get involved with income tax preparation? And this is why. Because those who may not have the ability to either do the taxes themselves or pay for TurboTax or pay for a professional tax preparer, they're the ones who need those dollars the most.
Right.
And so if someone doesn't have the skill or the ability or the finances to file their taxes, more than likely they should be getting a refund. And we want those dollars to come back to them in their community.
Right.
Because, you know, if you're getting $500 back through VITA, our VITA program, that's $500 of power. Maybe it's your daughter's prom dress. Maybe it's putting gas in the car for the next month or 2 months.
Sure.
So it's important for us to empower our friends and neighbors to make sure everyone has a chance to thrive.
Awesome. That's wonderful. Let me just ask this. What's been your greatest joy and disappointment in doing what you do? And that's just a jump ball. What gets you out of bed in the morning doing this, and what sometimes makes you want to put the covers over your head? Could you answer that quick?
I can say that the biggest joy of working at United Way of Broome County for me has been just all of the amazing people I get to work with. It's not only our team internally, but the people who are working for our partner organizations as well. Just people who are passionate about what they do. They are passionate about making change in the community, and it gives me so much hope for the future. And I think that the thing that makes me throw the covers over my head is that there's so much work to be done. And I think it's about viewing that as opportunity, and opportunities to collaborate, come together, be creative, and really make a difference. Yeah, you never get to that point. Hunger solved, no.
Housing solved, mental health solved. You just kind of keeps coming. Yes. Tom, what about you?
Well, I feel very fortunate because I get to see so many great people. Not only do I get to work with incredibly generous people, either as a business leader or as an individual, giving amazing amounts of money. We are fortunate to have some donors who give tens of thousands of dollars to us. Mostly our donors are working people who understand the needs out there, who say, okay, I can do $2 a paycheck, I can do $1 a paycheck. I meet those people every day, and they are amazing. I get to see, as Lindsey does, some of the work our partners are doing, and then I also get to see the people who are working hard. Hopefully can tell you a very quick story. There was a program used to be called Displaced Homemakers, and it was about getting people women back in the workforce after a break of marriage. And the woman was placed as a chambermaid at one of the local motels. When the service called to check in to see how she was doing after she was hired, the employer said, she's doing great, except she's late every morning. And so they contacted the woman and found out, because she hadn't gotten paid yet, she was walking 9 miles to work every morning. Amazing. So very quickly we were able to turn that around and say, we can buy you a bus pass until you get paid. But those are the people we're seeing.
Those are the stories.
People who are working hard to be contributing parts of the community, and that is for me the greatest joy. And the heartache for me is never enough money.
Well, I just want to take this time to thank you both, and to thank the United Way for the wonderful work they do. And I want to thank those that have joined us today in just recognizing the United Way of Broome County. Have a blessed day.